Welcome, friends and fellow gamers. It is I, SigTrent, captain of SigTrent Games, and this is Chronicles number 4, fourth one for the year of 2026, as we chronicle the exciting adventures of SigTrent Games and my gaming life, I guess you might say. All right, so let's talk about company news for SigTrent Games this week, or the past couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been since the last one, but we're doing 2 of these for April since there's a lot going on. So we'll start with Shotgun Fantasy, which is out and about and in print. Some of the fans have been able to get their hands on it, and they're really enjoying that, so that's great. I'm really happy to have a printed book. It feels really exciting when you get it in the mail and you're like, ooh, look, it's my book. So I've been having a good time doing show and tell with the one that I got. The reports are really good. Everybody who's gotten their copy of it, color's been great, binding's nice, so the book looks really good if you want to order it for print on demand over at Drive-Thru RPG, which I do recommend. If you just want the PDF, you can get the PDF version. If you don't know what Shotgun Fantasy is, it is the Isekai and Fantasy Play supplement for Everyday Heroes. I got more video coverage coming, and I want to thank the people that have done videos for Shotgun Fantasy already. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Really makes a big difference to get the word out there and share it with other people and get people to notice the company and see what we're doing. I've got more of those coming online pretty soon. I got more people I need to contact and talk to, and there's some more people that have agreed to do some stuff. So I'm looking forward to those. Sales are kind of slowing down here as expected. It's been about 2 months now where it's been on sale, so most of the core audience has probably seen some kind of an advertising for it. So it's time to reach out a little broader, try to reach out to some people that I might not otherwise get to, and see if we can get some more sales. All right, Night Magics. That's probably, I don't know, kind of the biggest company things going on. The manuscript is finished, so the book is written and edited, just about 20,000 words. I got a new editing process that I'm doing that seems to be working pretty well for me when I need to self-edit a book. Normally, I do like to have an outside editor take a look at it, but this one, it's a small enough project, and usually with LPJ, I don't do... He doesn't like to pull in an editor to do it, and I'm not going to pull in one to do a split book. I can only really afford it if I'm getting all the proceeds from the book myself. So anyway, but I think I've got a pretty good process now that catches, 99.9% of spelling errors and other errors and things like that, so it's pretty clean. It always is good to have just sort of other people's input and opinion and stylings on there, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So I am talking to LPJ about who's going to publish this one. It was maybe a year ago when we first talked about this project, and usually turns around things pretty fast. And he's been really focused on doing comic book stuff over at Lewis Porter Jr. Designs, and he's got a new company. I forget the name of his comic imprint. So he's pretty busy with that. So we may end up publishing it ourselves at SigTrent Games. We'll see what he has to say. Certainly, a deal's a deal, so if he wants to put it out, then we're totally going to do it that way. It's got 8 backgrounds, 8 professions, 3 classes, and 70 spells. There's not a lot more in there. It's not a settings book. It is set in urban fantasy, and the opening paragraphs do kind of talk about the world that I imagine that these characters and these spells are a part of. It's sort of a gritty urban fantasy world where there's magic and there's technology, and the characters are like street people, kind of in the sense that they live on the streets at night, going to clubs, hustling, making a living, getting involved in semi-shady activities. Maybe they are champions of the night. Maybe they are slight ne'er-do-wells or anti-heroes. You never know. But that's the kind of people that I imagine for this night magic setting. But it's generic enough that you can plug it into any kind of urban fantasy you have, because any kind of world has a nightlife and an afterworld. It goes great with Shotgun Fantasy, of course, which is going to add a whole bunch more spells, and you get magic item rules and all that stuff at Shotgun Fantasy, and just sort of a fuller rule set plus more character classes that you can play around with. Of course, they're fantasy classes, but you can work them into the modern day quite easily. And then Shadow Markets, which was kind of the drug, cops, and robbers themed book that also takes place in a nightlife world. It doesn't have magic in it, but those books pair really well. You put them together because of kind of the nightlife underworld settings that go together well, and then you add the magics in from Night Magics, and you're kind of good to go. Plus, you got some more classes that way. So that should be available sometime soon. I don't know how long. I'm going to guess a month or 2, probably about how long it'll take to get it out in a publication of some kind or another, but we'll see. Software R&D continues. That's a big focus of what Anne has been working on. diving deep into writing code, doing all kinds of cool stuff. It's all pretty much R&D, although, research and development stuff can turn into actual products that you guys can enjoy and cool stuff that will supplement our books and games, maybe in VTTs and other places. But I don't want to say exactly what the plan is because it just depends on how it goes. So we shall see. But it's pretty exciting and it's pretty fun. And I'm looking forward to when I can share concrete stuff with folks. So we spent this week talking about what's next. That's the other reason I wanted to do a video. Finishing up Shotgun Fantasy and getting that out there and into the world. Getting Night Magics written, which was kind of a holdover from last year. And always just kind of ended up a little lower on the priority. And finally, I just wanted to get it done and so we could start fresh. So while I'll still be doing things with those and supporting those lines and everything and putting out Night Magics, I need to think about what we're going to develop next for SigTrent Games to publish. So I wanted two things to think about, a large project and a small project. It'll probably be a series of projects, but I only need to pick one small project to start with. And then I'll probably just have one big project for the year. Maybe get started on the next one. We'll see how it goes as far as how much we can get done in what kind of time. It always goes faster than you think you might when you first start out. So I don't like to plan too far ahead in this case, especially when it's just me and Ann. You have to roll with the punches and what's going on in life. Anyway, so that's the idea. Big project, small project. So let's talk about the big project first. For a big project this time, there's two things that I want to do, and it's about expansion in the company itself and our strategy. So the first thing that we need to do is broaden our audience. I need to do a project that's going to reach outside of just Everyday Heroes, that the people who are fans of Everyday Heroes might enjoy as well. But I need to get a bigger audience and a larger fan group that's going to be able to support the company and support projects for the company. Not just for the projects that I want to do, but any projects we might have other people do in the future. It's important that we grow in that way because while Everyday Heroes is awesome and it's my baby of a game, it is a certain pool of audience, and only certain numbers of people in that audience are going to want to buy third-party games, not from Evil Genius Games. And whatever book we do is going to be kind of on the periphery of what they're doing. So it's kind of a niche of a niche of a niche, and makes it tough to make a living at it, right? So we do need to expand, but I'm always going to be supporting Everyday Heroes as well. We'll see more of that in the small project side of things. Okay, so I want to expand the audience. And the other thing I want to do is expand my publishing skills. And so there's a number of different boxes that we need to check off of, yes, I know how to do this, I've done it, and I was successful at it. So those are the two things I had in mind. I had about 4 projects. I have dozens of projects, ideas written down, but I had about 4 that I thought kind of were the cream of the crop on the top. And 3 of them are RPG related. And one of them, the one that I decided to pursue first, is actually a card game, board game. So there's a game I really like called Glory to Rome. It's a card game. It's kind of out of print. You might say it's a board game. It's not a collectible game. You get it in a box. You get all the stuff you need to play. I really like it a lot. It's pretty fun. Each of the cards has multiple different functions depending on the kind of turn you're taking. So it's got this really cool, efficient synergy, and it's pretty complex, and it involves... It's easy to learn how to play for the most part, but actually playing it can be kind of complicated and means you need to pay attention. And you could always just, kind of play casually and have fun with it as well. But if you really want to be a shark and win, it can go a little deeper than that. So I think it's a really cool game, and I want to make a spiritual successor. You can get Glory to Rome, but only as kind of a fan-made purchase. And I don't want to just remake the game, of course. I want to make a new game, but one that uses a lot of the mechanics there as inspiration, has a different theme, and is just fun to play. So I don't really have any great details on this yet. The next couple of weeks are going to be sitting down and thinking about what that theming is going to be, making plans for how we're going to do it. It's not a huge game, so in a way, it's kind of a big project, but in other ways, it's kind of a small project because I already have a framework of how the game works in general. It's going to be modifications on another game's game design, but trying to improve on that game design and also adding my own elements and just making it cool, right? So the challenges here, and the reason this expands my skill scope, is it will be production of a physical game. This is a game that I'll be able to sell to retailers, and so that also means it's a game that I can Kickstarter because I can reach a pretty broad audience, which means marketing for a Kickstarter actually makes more sense because I can already reach all the Everyday Heroes people without having to go through that kind of marketing effort. But Kickstarter is really important, so I need to be able to do one in order to prove that I can do them. And so, yeah, it's got all those elements together: printing, Kickstarter, broad audience, expanding my skill set, also showing that I can do games beyond role playing games as a game designer. Yeah. And it should be pretty cool as far as art, too, because we'll need a strong theme for the art because you want a very cohesive picture. It's a little bit different than a role playing game where you can get away with a little bit more diversity in the artists that you choose from. You still want to have a nice cohesive vision for your art, but that's the way it goes. Might be a little bit more expensive, but like as I said, I will be able to kickstart this, so that's going to make a big difference in the amount of money that we can invest into making the game to sell it, which means the potential returns are higher as well. So it'll be a step up for us. Hopefully the game design side of it won't take all that much time, which means I'll then be able to move on to one of the RPG projects, which I still want to be the core of SigTrent Games. I don't want to become a board game company or a card game company, but I do want to be able to offer design services and make games like that for other people. Just because, it's good to have a broad base of customers, as it were. All right, so that's the big project. It doesn't have a name yet because that's really going to depend a lot on the theme that the card game follows. So we'll see how that goes. Smaller projects. So let's talk about that. It's a little more Everyday Heroes related. The first thing we're going to do is something called it's a very small adventure called the Crypt of Gandor Grey. It's one of the ones I use to play test Shotgun Fantasy. It'll be in support of Shotgun Fantasy, so this is going to be a small fantasy adventure that has possible hooks to go out and take fantasy characters into other worlds and other dimensions. Really short adventure. We're talking 6 to 8 encounters in the whole thing. It's going to involve some maps and a little bit of art. A big part of why I want to do it is I do want to do adventures to support things, but I have a lot of ideas about the best way to design adventures and present adventures. And so that's something that I really want to explore with Anne and try to get the production of this very small adventure down. So again, it's one of those ones where I've already written the adventure, but I need to do it up in a published form. And so I have it all in my head. So it should be really quick writing and quick to put all that together. And then it'll be a little bit more intensive on the layout side and the design side of the adventure. And I'll be looking to do a lot of playtesting with this. Some of you will get free copies if you'll give me feedback on how it is to run it and how you feel like it's organized and that sort of thing as well. So look forward to that coming soon. And that'll be a very short project. And then in the meantime, I'm also doing an R&D project on the small side, which I think I've talked about before, which is a miniaturized set of rules for Everyday Heroes. And this allows me to put that rule set or a subset of that rule set into a game to make it a little bit more standalone. That way, if I get to the point where I have an avenue into retailers, we can get some Everyday Heroes related products into retailers. It's a little hard as a third party to sell a supplement unless the game is really big, like Dungeons and Dragons or something. So it's a little better if you can say, hey, you can just sell this book as it stands by itself. And that would enable us to do things like the Everything Awesome Wrestling that was one of my initial projects, and idea I have that was a contender for a big project called Rock World, which is its own sort of crazy setting. And so Everyday Heroes could be kind of embedded in that. All right, so those are what's going on for big projects and small projects, starting out here in April, I guess you might say. New videos probably coming soon. I want to do a video called Sig Reads Rules, and we're just going to read through Shotgun Fantasy. I have a decent reading voice, I suppose, so I will be just reading the rules and maybe commenting on them a little bit. Just as I say that, I'm starting to think about my reading technique and the way I speak. It makes me self-conscious, and that's kind of bad for doing videos. So anyway, also I'm thinking about doing another hero sheet video, which would be me making a character using the Shotgun Fantasy hero sheets and using Shotgun Fantasy on Sidekick in order to put that together. There's one other video like that in the library if you want to check it out. And it's just introduction to the product and see how it works. And last time people were pretty interested, and it got some people interested in Sidekick and in the hero sheets. So that was a good video to make. So hopefully I'll be doing those this week or next week. I'm not sure. It's pretty easy to do them. I just need to sit down and get it done. So what else is going on? Nomad Ann on Twitch is continuing to stream. She's mostly streaming No Man's Sky. There is a new update that has like creature arena battles. Basically some Pokemon style play. You always had the ability to tame creatures that you find on planets and keep them in a little portfolio. And they're mostly just cosmetic. You pop them out, you can feed them, they make poops. You can use that as a resource sometimes. They don't really fight for you, but sometimes they do get into a scuffle with other animals and stuff. At any rate, it was a pretty minor feature of the game. However, now you can capture these creatures and they have all kinds of stats and you can teach them different attacks. And they have different, the type of planet. If they're from a lava planet, they're kind of a fire creature. There's basically Pokemon stuff. And there's a quest line where you can get these guys and then you can go fight with NPCs and do little Pokemon-style battles with your creatures that you've found as you travel and explore. So that's pretty cool. I have not tried it out yet myself. I've been pretty addicted to Stellaris, as we'll talk about in a moment. But Anne has really enjoyed it, and if you want to check that out, you can see it on Nomad Anne. That's Nomad as in a wanderer. All right. Next up, Gamer Chat. I've been playing a ton of Stellaris, as I said. I actually finished a game of Stellaris. That takes a bit of effort when it comes to me because I pause all the time to micromanage everything. I won with the Thermophile Crisis, which is a new path to victory where you decide to overheat the galaxy and make all the suns red giants so that everything is nice and toasty and warm for you everywhere in the galaxy, which is kind of bad for everybody else. That was a pretty fun way to play the game. The crisis paths are pretty interesting. I'd only done the Nemesis path before, and so it was neat to try one of the other ones. And, I'm going to try them all eventually. But it takes so long to finish a game of Stellaris. I'm now doing one where I started with the Arc Furnace Origin, which you get these giant sort of system forges that let you get a lot of minerals and alloys, which are key for building ships, and for building giant constructions, kind of their equivalent of a Civilization Wonder. They're mega projects, so huge shipyards, ring worlds, big mega engineering projects like that. And so I'm just trying to build all of those during this run through, mostly chasing achievements more than really doing this as a strategy to try to win the game, but also to explore the different options. I got a new Super Paragon hero I'd never met before who was really cool. Had this quest to go around. You find them as a little baby. They grow up. You nurture them, and then they have ancestral memories, and they go on a quest to try and find what their origin was. It was all really cool. Every time I play that game, I find new and interesting things. So, Stellaris, it's so good. All right, been also playing a little Dungeons & Dragons. My regular group, one of the groups I playtest Everyday Heroes with, is running some D&D Ravenloft. The Game Master wants to do some prepackaged adventures because he can just kick back and not have to prep the game so much and just enjoy playing. So we've been doing that. I made a heavy metal sorcerer guy. He's kind of like, I don't know, Wizard from the Hood or something. He's a pretty strange character. He alternately calls himself a wizard or a sorcerer. He's a sorcerer technically, but in his mind, there's not really much difference between these things. He casts spells. He's a badass. And he's a former criminal, so he can also pick locks and things. He has a terrible perception, so he's not really good at finding traps or anything like that. But if you find something, he might be able to figure out how to disarm it, or open it, or do something with it. So that's been pretty fun. Vodok is his name, something like that. All right, what else is going on in life? I was super busy at work a couple of weeks ago, so I've been taking it easy a little bit last couple of weeks, but, still getting some things done. I had a pretty productive week last week, and hopefully this week will continue to be on that track, although I have been playing a lot of Stellaris and enjoying that. I don't know, we got dead whales on the beach here, which has been kind of interesting. All kinds of stuff washes up on the beach, but apparently gray whales have been having a hard time of it in our area, and they've been coming up on the beach, which is fascinating to go out and see. If you've ever seen, like, a dead whale right there, kind of a rare thing. So that's been really interesting, but also kind of sad, because whales are lovely creatures, and you don't like to see them starve and die. So hopefully scientists can maybe figure that out. I don't know if you can really help the whales find food or not, but it would be nice. You feel bad for them. Such is nature, I suppose. Well, my nature is to enjoy games and making games, so I'm going to get back to that. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see everybody on the next Chronicles. Bye-bye.